You can do everything society told you to do. Go to school, get a degree, find a job, and still feel one unexpected problem away from collapse. That's the reality for millions of working people today. For a long time, society followed a very clear script. You work for decades, and around age 65, you finally slow down. The promise wasn't wealth, it wasn't luxury, it was stability. The idea was simple. If you work hard and stay consistent, life will eventually feel secure. But the world started moving faster than that plan was designed for. Costs rose faster than income. Jobs changed faster than people could adapt. Pressure increased, but protection didn't. And now, a quiet question sits in many people's minds. If I'm already tired, stressed, and uncertain now, what will be left of me by the time I'm supposed to retire? Because the real issue isn't just money. It's how this instability affects our mental health, our physical health, our relationships, our ability to enjoy life. Before we go deeper, if you value honest conversations about work, life, and pressure, subscribe to the channel. It helps more people realize they are not alone in feeling this way. Part 1. Economically. When a job stopped feeling safe. Let's start with the most obvious layer. Money. Today, many people are working. Some are working full-time. Some are working more than full-time. And yet, stability feels fragile. Having a job no longer means you can plan long-term, you can absorb surprises, you can relax financially. A single event, a rent increase, a car repair, a medical bill can undo months of effort. This creates a strange situation. You're earning, but you're not secure. You're busy, but you're not progressing. And the pressure doesn't come from laziness. It comes from mismatch. Expenses are fixed. Income is uncertain. Rent doesn't care if your hours were cut. Bills don't pause if work slows down. Life keeps charging interest while income hesitates. This is why people feel anxious even when nothing is wrong. Because stability today isn't about effort, it's about how exposed you are. Why money stress doesn't stay about money. And here's where things shift. Because money stress never stays in your bank account. It follows you into your thoughts, into your sleep, into your relationships, which brings us to the mental side of instability. Part 2. Mental health. Living under constant pressure. When work no longer guarantees stability, the mind never fully rests. Even on your days off, your thoughts are working. You're thinking about bills, deadlines, job security, future plans you can't finalize. This isn't occasional stress. It's constant background pressure. Many people don't feel relaxed anymore. They feel temporarily distracted. There's always a quiet sense of, I can't mess this up. I can't afford a mistake. I can't slow down too much. And over time, this does something dangerous. It turns life into survival mode. In survival mode, everything feels urgent, fun feels irresponsible, rest feels earned, not necessary. People start blaming themselves. They think they're weak, that they should handle it better. But the pressure isn't personal. It's structural. You're not anxious because you're failing. You're anxious because stability is no longer guaranteed, even when you're doing your part. When the mind carries too much, the body pays, and pressure doesn't stay in the mind forever. Eventually, it shows up in the body. Part 3. Physical health. Paying the price over time. Many working adults today feel older than they should. They wake up tired. They rely on caffeine just to function. Sleep feels shallow. Recovery takes longer. This isn't because people are lazy. It's because the body was never meant to stay under constant stress. When work no longer guarantees stability, the body stays alert, always ready, always tense. And over years, that adds up. People push through. Fatigue, headaches, tension, small health warnings. That's because stopping feels risky. But here's the uncomfortable question. If people already feel worn down in their 30s and 40s, what condition will they be in after decades more of this pace? Stability used to protect health. Now, work often quietly consumes it. What else gets lost? And when energy is gone, both mental and physical, something else disappears too. Time. Well, part 4, time, joy, and what we lose along the way. When work no longer guarantees stability, something very important starts to disappear quietly. Time. Not time on the clock, but mental time. The kind of time where your mind is free. The kind of time where you're present. The kind of time where life feels like more than a checklist. Many people today don't feel like they're living. They feel like they're maintaining bills, maintaining work, maintaining appearances, maintaining momentum. Everything becomes about keeping things from falling apart. So what happens to joy? Joy starts to feel conditional. People say things like, "I'll enjoy life once I'm more stable. I'll relax after this phase. I'll have fun later." But that later keeps moving. When stability is uncertain, even fun starts to feel stressful. You calculate it, you justify it, you sometimes feel guilty for it. A dinner out isn't just a dinner, it's a decision, a risk, a trade-off. Over time, this does something subtle but damaging. Life shrinks. Relationships become shorter and more transactional. Friendships fade because everyone is busy. Family time competes with exhaustion, and many people don't even realize they've stopped enjoying life. They just feel numb, tired, and always behind. This is one of the most painful consequences of instability. Life becomes postponed indefinitely, not because people don't want joy, but because survival takes priority over living. Part 5. Solutions. Responding to instability without burning out. Let's be clear about something. These are not solutions that make life easy. They are solutions that make life possible. They are about staying human in an environment that constantly applies pressure. Solution 1. Redefine stability as recovery, not control. Many people believe stability means having everything under control. That idea no longer matches reality. Today, stability is not the absence of problems. It's the ability to recover without collapsing. Think about it this way. A stable life is not one where nothing goes wrong. It's one where a problem slows you down, not destroys you. A mistake costs time, not your entire future. A setback is uncomfortable, not catastrophic. So instead of asking, "Am I successful? Am I ahead? Am I doing better than others?" ask, "How exposed is my life right now?" Exposure creates fear. Buffers create calm. Buffers can be savings, flexible expenses, supportive relationships, transferable skills, time margin. Even small buffers change how problems feel. This shift alone can reduce anxiety because it replaces unrealistic expectations with realistic goals. Solution 2. Lower survival pressure before chasing growth. A lot of people are exhausted because they're constantly chasing growth. More money, more responsibility, more output, but growth without stability increases pressure. Survival pressure is the minimum effort required just to stay afloat. When survival pressure is high, fear increases, decision-making narrows, burnout accelerates. This is why lowering pressure is often more effective than earning more. Ask yourself, what expenses create the most anxiety? Which obligations remove flexibility? Where does my money feel locked in? Focus on the biggest weight, not every detail. Housing that is too expensive doesn't just cost money, it costs sleep. Debt doesn't just cost interest, it costs peace. Transportation that stretches your budget doesn't just limit movement, it limits choices. Reducing one heavy pressure point can transform daily life, not because life becomes easy, but because it becomes manageable. Solution 3. Protect mental and physical energy as a survival strategy. In unstable systems, energy becomes more valuable than money. You can borrow money, you can delay expenses, but you can't borrow health indefinitely. Chronic pressure keeps the body in alert mode. The nervous system never fully shuts off. That's why people feel constantly tired, mentally foggy, emotionally flat, older than their age. And yet, exhaustion is normalized. People brag about being busy, about sleeping less, about pushing through. But pushing through without recovery doesn't build strength. It builds damage. Protecting energy means respecting sleep as non-negotiable, building rest into life instead of waiting for burnout, allowing recovery without guilt. This isn't weakness, it's strategy. A rested person has perspective. A burned-out person has tunnel vision. Energy protection is not self-care culture. It's survival in a high-pressure environment. Solution 4. Separate identity from work before instability does it for you. One of the most overlooked impacts of instability is identity damage. When work becomes unstable, people don't just lose income. They lose confidence, they lose direction, they lose self-worth. That's because many people were taught, you are what you do. So when work shakes, the self shakes. This is dangerous. Work is a tool, not a measure of human value. If your worth depends entirely on productivity, instability becomes existential. Separating identity from work doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care wisely. Build identity around skills you can develop and carry, values you choose, relationships you protect, health you maintain. That way, when work becomes uncertain, you remain grounded. You don't disappear when your job changes. Solution 5. Strengthen human connection as a form of stability. Pressure isolates. People withdraw. They stop talking. They don't want to burden others, but isolation multiplies stress. Human connection is not optional in unstable environments. It's essential. Stability includes someone who knows the real version of you, conversations without performance, moments where you don't have to explain or impress. You don't need many people. You need real ones. Strong relationships don't remove economic pressure, but they make it bearable. And bearable pressure is survivable pressure. Part 6. The system. Question where individual effort stops. Now we have to address something uncomfortable. If so many people are exhausted, if anxiety is widespread, if work no longer guarantees stability, then this is not just a personal failure, it's a system problem. People are adapting constantly, learning new skills, working harder, sacrificing more. But systems change slowly. Work structures, housing access, retirement expectations, social safety nets. When systems demand flexibility but offer little protection, pressure becomes permanent. That's why conversations matter. Not to complain, not to blame, but to name what is happening. I want to hear from you. Do you feel this pressure even though you are working? How is it showing up? Mentally? Physically? In your relationships? What changes, at work or in society, do you think would actually reduce pressure? Not slogans, not arguments, just real ideas. Work still matters, but it no longer guarantees stability by itself. Stability today comes from awareness, boundaries, health, connection, and systemic change. If you're tired while still working hard, you're not weak. You're responding normally to a system that asks a lot and protects very little. Subscribe if you want more honest conversations like this. Thanks for watching.